Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing. It's the Fond Pod. We got the original duo back here tonight in action. Just
Whoop,
Cody
whoop.
and Joe. We'll be
Yeah.
reviewing our third anniversary look at the Book of Boba Fett that we that we
Spoiler
broadcast on all
alert.
those years ago.
It has not aged well.
Can't be much worse than it was when we saw it the first time. But anyway, no, we are here tonight to talk about the new Netflix offering, Wake Up Dead Man. But before we get to that, let's see what Joe's been up to recently. Joey, what you been up to?
I've been sick, so that has not been fun. Been battling a sinus infection for about 2 weeks now. I finally got started on some antibiotics on Friday, so I am hopefully trending in the right direction, but still not great. So do not recommend that. On a more positive note, though, one really cool thing I did recently that I wanted to talk about is um I feel like this is maybe the most middle-aged man thing that I could say, but somehow, so my entire life I've never really cared or been very interested in architecture. But somehow in the past year or so, through the power of YouTube feeding me stuff that it thinks I'd be interested in, I have watched a number of videos of like virtual tours of different homes designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And I recently, well, I guess not super recently, a couple months ago, learned that there was one such home here in Grand Rapids where I live called the Meyer May House. And it's actually owned by the Steelcase Corporation. But one of the positive things about the fact that it is owned by a corporation is that tours are free because
Oh,
they actually said during our tour that it would have been too difficult legally for them to figure out how to charge people. Which I don't really know what that means,
yeah, what
but
does that mean? Did they touch
anyway,
you?
maybe.
Okay.
Um, It must be pretty popular. They don't do a ton of tours in a given week, but I bought tickets in August and the we went like last weekend, I think it was. So, and it was like one of the first weekends available. So,
Holy snap.
but yeah, it's this house that was, built by Frank Lloyd Wright in 1909 originally and kind of passed hands a couple times. At one point, they put a giant addition on it that was not designed by Wright. At one point, it apparently was turned into like a couple different apartments. And then I think it was in 1984, so almost exactly 40 years ago, Steelcase bought the house and undertook a major renovation project basically to try to restore it as closely as possible to like its original state. So they kind of like they start by making you I mean, I say making you, but it's interesting. They show you a like half-hour documentary about the renovation and restoration, and that was fascinating because like they like poured through archives, they like found blueprints of like furniture that Wright had designed for the house that had been lost and like had people painstakingly recreate that, like carpet designs, all kinds of things. And then, you get to actually tour the house itself and it was weirdly almost like a religious experience. Like it's the thing about this house, I mean, I think from what I've gathered, this is true of a lot of his earlier houses and maybe was slightly less true as the years went on. But he was so involved in the design of his homes that he like literally designed almost every single thing in the homes. Like not just the structure of the house itself, but like light fixtures, the furniture,
Hmm.
like the carpets, like actual like specific patterns in the carpets. Um, I mean, there's, a lot of like built-in like storage, things like that. Like literally almost every single aspect of the house was designed by a single person. And you feel it when you're in there. Like you're literally walking into a like livable work of art. And it's weird the way that everything feels of a piece. Like every single thing is intentional. Um, it's kind of a weird, eerie
Hmm.
feeling. Like I don't know if I've really felt anything like that before, just like going into a structure. So I mean, obviously, Wright designed a number of houses. They're kind of all throughout the country. There
Yeah.
are several in the Chicago area where Wright lived for at least a long portion of his life. So recommend taking a look around and maybe touring one of his houses if you get the chance. Very, very interesting experience.
Nice.
What have you been up to, Cody?
Not actually a ton of big things around here. Just watching a little TV with the family. We finished up the run of Stranger Things up to where it's at now, and have since now started rewatching Fallout with the kids, which has been kind of interesting with language and some other things. But it's been going okay. They both wanted to watch a different show, my kids, of course. So we watched Stranger Things first, and then we watched Fallout. Now, also watching through The Devil's Plan season two, which I take it we'll
Ooh,
podcast on at some point here somewhere in the near-ish future. And beyond that, I don't know. I just mentioned to you guys one of my more um, what the word is here, chancy, treasure hunty, gambly. I don't know. Endeavors recently was I
go on.
purchased a large tub of vintage 90s baseball, basketball, and football, as it was advertised to me, cards from a guy. And I have been slowly burning through looking at like, I don't know, a couple hundred a night, I would say, maybe several hundred a night. Um, and it's kind of fun. So there was like some baseball cards and a couple of basketball cards I collected as a kid that I recognized. And I was like, oh, these are kind of cool. But there's also like random like Looney Tunes cards every once in a while. There's Olympic cards for like track and field events and weird things that I didn't even know had cards on them.
That is weird.
Yeah, and the weirdest set probably that I've seen in the scattered card, these are just all mixed together, PS, is I have so far found three cards from an American Bandstand card set, which I was just flipping through like baseball players and suddenly like Dick Clark popped up and I was like, what the hell? And yeah, it's
It's always a good time when Dick pops up.
kind of bizarro. So having fun looking at that every once in a while kind of keeps me entertained. Just otherwise going
Nice.
through all the good things around here. So there we go. All right. Well, let's see. We will jump into this then here. This is a film I know I was, and I'm sure Joe was as well, looking forward to quite a bit this year in 2025. We're towards the end of the year now, but it finally came out, Wake Up Dead Man. This is the third movie in the Knives Out series, Joe, not the Benoit Blanc series, the Knives Out series.
Uh,
Anyway, we've discussed this previously.
Dang. Why is it not just called a Benoit Blanc mystery?
I
It makes
don't
no
know.
sense.
I think they were afraid people wouldn't know the character as well as the movie title,
Oh,
but I wish they would have. It would have looked better. I'm okay with it now. I've kind of gotten used to it, but I still think it would be better the
I
other
mean,
way.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me as much now as it did when the second one came out, but it does still feel weird to me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, this has been an interesting, we'll talk about later on here too, release. It did have a short theatrical run, but is basically brand new on Netflix as we are putting this episode out there. So we have some initial ratings here that have kind of been featured on some sites. Numerically, in particular, I just found a few here for us. IMDb has it set at 7.6 so far. Rotten Tomato critics at a 92. Rotten Tomato audiences at a 94, so that's pretty consistent there. Although notably higher
Man,
than the IMDb, and I went for another one here. I pulled out IGN, which has it at a 7. So
I mean, the critic score is 3% lower than the Glenn Powell Classic Hitman.
I know it's crazy. They should have had him be Benoit Blanc. Just think where this franchise could go.
Man,
Straight to the shitter. That's where. No, I'm
I
just
need
kidding.
a donut hole out of his donuts hole. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm
That's
so
weird.
sorry. That is weird.
That's weird. All right, well, let's start this off here. Just look at one-liner here. Detective Benoit Blanc essentially is back, sifts through a series of suspects when a Monsignor turns up dead. That's kind of a one-line summary, I guess, of the plot here. But let's go into performances first. This is yet again RIan Johnson with another star-studded cast and their
You could
ensemble piece
say
here.
a murderer's row.
You could
Wink.
say a potential, at least, murderer's row. So we have Daniel Craig back again as Benoit Blanc, our lovable detective that we've had in the previous two films. We have Josh O'Connor as Judd Duplessis, a young priest, Father Judd. Glenn Close, kind of a big name for the franchise. Martha Delacroix. Josh Brolin here as the previously mentioned Monsignor
John
Jefferson
Wick.
Wicks, John Wick's uncle or something like that, I believe. Mila Kunis, I didn't know was in this movie until she popped up on screen. Geraldine Scott, a
Yeah,
police chief.
there were a couple actors in this movie where I was like, "What? I forgot that person was going to be in this."
Yeah, and I think I really kind of did eventually stay away from even trailers for a
Mm.
while. Jeremy Renner coming back as Dr. Nat Sharp. I say coming back as part of
Boo.
our trivia for later in the episode, but his first role since his accident. Kerry Washington as Vera Draven, Esquire, a lawyer. Andrew Scott as Lee Ross, a best-selling author. Kaylee, I don't know if this is Spaney, as
I think it is
Simone
Spaney.
Vavain, disabled former concert cellist. It's a lot of adjectives. Daryl McCormick as Cy Draven, Vera's adoptive son, an aspiring politician. And then our last main character here, I guess, would be Thomas Hayden Church as Samson Holt, the groundskeeper. And then we have some smaller people as well. But again, really small, tight cast on this movie. I mean, there's maybe there's 5, 6 more people that even have a role at all in this. So, um, let's start off with anybody do a particularly wonderful performance in your eyes, or vice versa, have a not so great time.
Oh, I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to someone you did not mention, my boy Jeffrey Wright. He is one of my favorite actors, I realized. I enjoy him in pretty much everything he's in. In this movie, he plays Bishop Langstrom, who is like, I would go to that guy's church. He's just like a straight talking, no nonsense,
Yeah.
like kind of tells it like it is kind of dude. So he's not in the movie for very long, but I did really appreciate his performance. Um, I mean, Glenn Close is always great. Not going to talk too much about her. I did really like Josh O'Connor. I don't know if you're familiar with him before this at all.
I don't think so.
Alexis and I were big fans of at least the first few seasons of the Netflix series The Crown, and he played Prince Charles for a couple seasons on that show, and he was phenomenal. Like he was kind of the center point of one of maybe the best episode of that series, if not like certainly one of the best. Um, it was kind of weird coming off of that, seeing him in this movie playing an American, doing an American accent. But I thought he was really good. I thought he was believable as someone who's kind of struggling with his own past and then also like struggling with this, murder situation that he's been cast into. But like not really losing his faith in the process.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed him in that role. I mean, while I'm talking about positive things, another high point obviously is Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
My hot take is I think Daniel Craig was the best James Bond, but I think Benoit Blanc is Daniel Craig's best performance. Like this is a character he was born to play. Like he's just the way he inhabits this role is just like
It is it is funny to think like because I think we've talked in the past about this, but he's got to be probably my favorite Bond as well. And I know when we first started to watch this franchise, the idea was like he must just be having so much fun, just throwing shit against the wall and
yeah.
being this off the crazy goof kind of detective guy. So that must be really relieving after playing like the tightness he had to play Bond for all those years. But then I also now kind of wonder like, is this more who Daniel Craig actually is? You know, maybe Bond was the
I
hard role for him.
Yeah, honestly, like seeing some interviews with him and stuff, I don't think he is really like as serious a person as I would have believed, like based on his performance as Bond. Have you ever? I've probably talked about this when we talked about the last Knives Out movie, Glass Onion, but have you ever seen a movie called Logan Lucky?
No.
He is, I mean, that's a fun movie. Recommend everyone check it out. It's kind of like a redneck Ocean's 11.
Okay.
And Daniel Craig plays like basically this weird redneck criminal in that movie, and he's fantastic in it. Like it's kind of a like a not entirely comedic, but a pretty comedic like heist thriller kind of movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I do feel like outside of Bond, he has probably purposely chosen roles that are, not what people would have expected from him.
Yeah.
I will say there's there's one character, it's more of a character, I guess, than a performance that I kind of want to save for a later discussion. I don't think I really had major issues with, well, okay. I don't love Jeremy Renner in general. I don't feel like he's a great actor. I don't strongly hate him, but I feel like he is kind of just Jeremy Renner and everything. So I don't know that he brought a whole lot to this movie. And also I kind of had mixed feelings about Mila Kunis. I feel like she felt too try-hardy as far as being like, sassy female sheriff
Hmm.
lady.
Okay.
Again, like not terrible, like it didn't
Yeah.
like ruin the movie for me, but it felt like she could have dialed it back a little bit. It was a little too over the top for me, I feel like.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. On my end, I would say Benoit Blanc again here. Daniel Craig was fantastic in the movie as well. He gets a little bit different stuff to work with in this film too, which I'm sure we'll talk about as we go on here
Yeah.
a little bit. But just so nuanced and his mannerisms and his little speech things that he uses, and he's just such a real fleshed character that I love him. I would probably shout out Josh Brolin, actually, somebody I really enjoyed in this. Just, well, like, what a dickish but powerful performance he had here as Jefferson Wicks, who's like this really sees the world in black and white, and his way is only one way, and he runs his church and spreads his message just with
And his
that one
seed,
thing, and possibly his seed question
but not really.
mark, but not really. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed him. I just thought he had a great look to him, and like he
Yeah.
you know,
I agree. I thought he was great in this too.
it's crazy that he is. Uh, I don't know. I'm simultaneously working on the Giant Goonies Lego right now, and so I got his little minifig of Bran from the
Oh,
Goonies the
nice.
same day I watched him as Monsignor Wicks, and I'm like, wow, this is the same guy.
A little
Just
bit of
like,
a 180 on that.
yeah, it's like a child actor who actually went on to do good things. My dark horse here I want to shout out for performances is actually another one that I didn't mention here, Annie Hamilton, who plays Grace Wicks, Jefferson's mom.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought she was a real scene stealer for that little bit she was in the movie. Like if they had done a horror movie or a vampire movie or something with that exact character, I would watch that in a second, man.
yeah, I agree. She was great.
The Harlot Horror.
The Harlot Horror.
The Harlot Horror.
Also, I mean, he didn't really have much to do in this movie, which we can also maybe talk about later, but I just always love Andrew Scott.
Hmm. That's another one I don't really know that well.
Oh, he's so good.
What would I know him best from?
Did you ever watch the BBC Sherlock series?
Nope.
Oh, he played
Always mean to, never get to it.
what's his fuck?
What's
God
this
damn
fucking
it.
D?
Who is Moriarty? He played Moriarty in that, and
Oh, that guy.
it was weird and amazing. He's also in Fleabag, which is one of the greatest series of all time. But he's just like Jeffrey Wright, he is just an actor who I just always seem to enjoy anytime he pops up.
Oh, he was in 1917. I do know that one pretty well. That one's good. Wait, is it 1917? I was getting 1917 confused with the other war movie that came out like the same time. But anyway, not talking about that anyway. So, um, yeah. How did you like your Noah Segan in this movie? Any thoughts there? Coming back again for movie three, this time as a bar owner or saloon worker?
My thought was, hey, it's that guy that's friends with RIan Johnson and is in all his stuff.
It's true. At least
He
he wasn't
was,
randomly walking through scenes like in Glass Onion.
that's true. I mean, that was kind of hilarious in that movie, but
It was. And then You got Joseph Gordon-Levitt back again in this movie, so three in a row
I
for
did
him
not
as
catch that
well.
one. I did not catch that until I saw it on the
Yeah, I didn't either.
IMDb.
Just a quick audio, basically only. Well, kind of like the last movie, he was the Hourly Dong may still be
Yeah,
the best named character of all time, to
yeah,
be
I
fair.
love that that's noted on the Wikipedia. Previously, I voiced cameos in Knives Out as Detective Hadrock and Glass Onion as the Hourly Dong.
Dong. Yeah. Let's see. As far as not so great performances, I don't know that I thought anybody had a bad performance. I have maybe issues with how some characters are used, which we'll get into a little later down the line here, but maybe that's hitting on some stuff you were hinting at as well. We'll see. All right,
We'll
well
see.
let's go on here. So we got a big ensemble cast, and we are going into the plot. I am not going to run through the whole plot of this movie because
Thank God. We don't
two
have
hour
time.
and like 20 minute, 2 hour and 15 minute affair. I know we paused like to get dessert or snack or something as our family was watching it, and there was still like an hour 30 left, and we were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
Like,
we had kind of a similar but maybe even worse experience because our dog was being a pain in the ass. So I think it took us like 3.5 hours to get through this movie, maybe even longer. Like we had to pause it so many goddamn times. It was terrible.
Benoit Blanc in Gettysburg.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Um, all right. Well, I just kind of split the movie into three acts, if you will, here. Act one being the crime, everything up to Monsignor Wicks being killed in the small alcove off I should use religious terminology here, but essentially in the front of the church off to the side by himself in a room, and we get kind of the impossible crime here where he's killed with no one else having the option to be able to kill him. This would all be here in Act One, and then Father Judd being the initial person that they suspect for the crime. So anything in this first chunk, this was actually PS 40 minutes, 40, before we have any sign of Benoit Blanc at all in this movie, which, I mean, Rian Johnson likes to set up the scene a little bit here, but 40 minutes is a long time to not have the character we know as the viewer.
That's true. I mean, I feel like that has been I mean, not that long, but I feel like throughout the series, and maybe this is why they don't call it a Benoit Blanc mystery because he's not the main character. Like he's never really the main character. He's and I feel like maybe that's like a benefit to the movies. You want like a Souchon of Benoit Blanc.
Yeah,
I feel like if he was the main focus, if he was in like every scene or every frame, maybe it would be too much.
that's true.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I think what works best about this first section are the performances and the way that it introduces the characters. I mean, we get to Wix like pretty quickly, and like he is immediately this weird, fascinating, like magnetic character. Like I think we're introduced to him as an asshole. I mean, because it's structured in a way like from the start, we do know that Judd is writing an account of the events to someone who, I mean, I
Yep.
think we could probably all assume was Blanc. So it's like from the start, it is centered in his point of view. So we kind of get introduced to the characters through his perspective. But I think that structure works really well. I think it's an interesting way to kind of jump into the middle of things and then, kind of wind back around to bringing Blanc in.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the interplay between the two religious figures here definitely kind of set the stage for what we need to know about their relationship and this guy Wicks and his relationship with his flock or his followers in the church. He has a very close-knit crew, and they seem to follow this guy semi for complex reasons, I guess, whether that's fear or whether that's they believe like somehow he's going to lead them to something better in their own life. Or what it is, but it's like these whatever 8, 9, well, less than probably 6, 7 characters
Yeah.
that really are tied to him and everybody else. I liked watching him try to drive the people of the church. I was like, what a weird twist on a priest to do that.
Yeah, it's like I mean, Judd kind of says he makes a show out of like trying to get anyone who is not a member of this core group to walk out. And it's like kind of a means for him to keep these people in place. Like they're all complicit in like this whatever he is.
Yeah. They all seem to have tied their cart to his horse in various different ways at different
Yeah.
times for different reasons, but it's all interesting. Um, what did you think of the actual murder of Wicks in the side room and kind of the introduction to the central mystery here?
I thought it was cool. Like it had me guessing, like it immediately had
Yeah.
me trying to like formulate some theories. I mean, if we might come back to this later, but I thought the I thought Chekhov's Lazarus door was an interesting device that they like introduced early on because we're getting the tour of the grounds and there's the crypt and the groundskeeper like describes the Lazarus door, which is like impossible to open from the outside without construction equipment, but apparently can be opened from the inside just by pushing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like that's going to come back into play.
Right.
But like when the murder went down, my mind was like, is there some sort of Lazarus door inside that room that someone was able to like get into and then like somehow was sealed? And like, I don't know. Like my mind started going all over the place trying to figure out how it could have happened. So
Yeah.
I thought it was, I like the way that it was presented.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's very simple in how it appears, right? It's a guy
Yeah.
in a 10-foot long room that's 4 feet wide, and somehow he's killed in that room when nobody else is in the room with him, and nobody else could have gotten into the room, and it's just I guess they refer to it as the impossible room or the locked room mystery type,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I was trying to put it together in my head as it went on, and then actually the movie kind of subverted what my guess was several times as I kept watching, which I really
Same.
enjoyed. All right, well, then we're going to get to the next section here. So Benoit Blanc will enter here into Act Two, which I just labeled the investigation. And I have an investigation from Benoit Blanc arriving on the scene all the way to when Benoit Blanc and Father Judd are in the doctor's house and they find some bodies in the basement. So anything in this big section of the movie here before Act Three, the reveal? Anything in Act Two, investigation that stood out to you?
I mean, nothing really specific is leaping to mind besides obviously, Benoit Blancin.
Yeah,
We talked about how well Daniel Craig inhabits this character. I just love watching him work and the way he just like talks to people and like I mean, he says in this movie that it's like basically a game to him and it's like
yeah,
he it's I mean, structurally, this movie's kind of interesting because he comes off as being almost too cocky. Like he is 100% certain that he's going to solve every case. And he's,
yeah,
this moment where he's talking about like, the moment where it all comes together and he like walks everyone through it and like wait until you see how that is. And then later there is maybe a brief moment where we wonder if that is going to happen.
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, really, I think for me, it's mostly just the Blanc of it all is what held my interest.
Yeah, he's fantastic through this. We get a little bit of as we do in all of these movies and kind of whodunit movies in general, we get kind of a slow roll of these other possible explanations for what's happening, other motivations for characters that are out there, or maybe like a reason why this character would want, revenge on this character, to kill this character, whatever. Here we find out that basically one of the characters we have already been introduced to is his son, which is kind of this
Yeah.
whole, I don't know if it's a revelation or not, and Wicks just kind of owns up to it as whatever. But we kind of get that to play out there, and then we get the maybe hint that Wicks was considering going into politics, and he was just kind of done being this religious figure. Maybe he wanted to go to the next chapter of his life and go from there. Um, so that, and then I also really liked we get the scene here, which is pretty pivotal later in the movie as well. I just thought it looked really cool on on film, which was when the Lazarus story you mentioned actually opens, and then we see Wicks kind of exit the mausoleum, and he's met by some people outside there, but just kind of like seeing it on like a secondhand camera within the movie world, I
Yeah,
thought
I
was a
really
cool way
like
to
that scene
present that.
too. Yeah, and like, they're all standing there watching it, and I think the sheriff is like, "What the hell did I just see?"
Yeah, right? It's good stuff. Good stuff.
I mean, we should mention like intermixed throughout this movie, I thought it was an interesting exploration of faith and like, different people's views on religion. They're all obviously the believers, think that there's some sort of miracle going on, but the sheriff and Blanc are more skeptical.
Yeah. I Yeah, what I thought was happening in the movie definitely did not turn out to be what was actually happening in the movie, but I mean, I also figured they had to have named the movie this for some reason, so I was like, even when he dies, I'm like, all right, well, he's not really dead because the
Yeah.
movie's literally called The Wake Up Dead Man,
Yeah,
right?
I
So,
was definitely waiting for him to come out of that crypt.
yeah. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Okay, and then yeah, basically we find out all of these bizarro little clues that take place here down to when obviously we're covering some spoilers here, but eventually they go to one of the characters' house, and down in the basement they find essentially a vat of acid, I guess,
Yeah,
which
that was a little weird to me.
was
I
this
mean,
just
that's
always there or
yeah, like that's definitely what it appeared to be. I mean, I think we later learned that that was part of a plan, but things did not go to plan.
they just have this whole thing set up to that level of detail, I guess.
Apparently, if you're a medical doctor, you can just get access to gallons of whatever kind of acid can dissolve a human body.
Right? Absolutely. Okay, and then we're headed to the next. We're jumping over a lot here, people. So if you haven't watched this, you'll have to kind of watch all the minutia details here as we go through. But let me kind of get this Act Three, which is the reveal, and this is again, which Joe kind of already referenced. That moment where Benoit Blanc kind of comes in and solves the mystery and starts to slowly peel back the layers of the onion, pun intended, as to what really happened and who really did what actions here. And this is where essentially we get the police back involved. Mila Kunis's police chief's back here again, and Blanc's going to kind of walk them through how this whole thing happened. And I guess, for the sake of full spoilers here, maybe we don't need to necessarily say how the murder was committed, or should we say how the murder was committed?
I think we should maybe okay. So spoilers. If you've made it this far and have not seen the movie, go watch the movie.
Yes.
But I feel like this is where I have maybe a concern with the plot or how things played out.
Do tease.
Well, okay. I just so basically we find out that um Martha Delacroix and Dr. Nat Sharp were conspiring together to try to kill Wicks. Um, but the way the murder was committed was that Wicks was not actually dead when he hit the ground. He instead had been given some sort of like heavy sedative that knocked him out, a tranquilizer. Um, and then basically they had so the weapon that was ostensibly used to kill him was someone had affixed a knife blade to this like devil looking, it's like a wolf devil kind of
Yeah,
thing.
kind of unique looking.
That was actually like the top, it was like the top piece of a lamp at the bar that Judd had been to, which is like an entirely devil themed bar. So ostensibly the murder weapon was that someone had attached a knife to, but we find out what had actually happened is that there were two of these things, and the conspirators had affixed one of them without the blade attached to it to the back of Wix's vestment. And then after he hit the ground, the doctor went in and secretly like switched it out for one that had the knife in it and like stabbed him with it, and that's what killed Wix. This was all very silly to me.
That's right.
Um,
That's where you're going with all that, huh? Okay.
that's where I'm going with all that because it just felt unsatisfying. Like, oh, they just like stuck this fake one to the back of his vestment and somehow nobody noticed it throughout like whatever time led up to his service and also when he like was doing the mass. He at no point turned his back to people and I just it just felt weird and kind of silly to me.
We should mention Justin just popped on here as well. Hello,
Who is this
Justin.
guy?
Hello, speaking of things that are very silly.
There we
Hello.
go. There's a chance that maybe they wouldn't have seen it only because their relationship between Judd and Wicks was so bad that I think maybe Judd was like not even on the stage at that point, or he was sitting in that chair off to the side. But the side that they had it taped to, based on where Judd was sitting, I don't think anyone actually may have seen that by like line of sight. But I agree with you; it was silly. The part
It just
I had a bigger problem with was the didn't they have the like the first wolf head that was attached to his back also like sprayed blood or something? Wasn't that
yeah,
like
they
the
had
whole thing?
there was a squib that was like remotely activated to try to make it look like he had been
I found
stabbed.
that to be the least believable part of the entire crime.
I just the whole
Who
thing
set that
felt
up? The doctor, the 90-year-old lady? Who set that up?
yeah. Well, so here's and I mean, Justin, you missed the part where I was telling Cody that Alexis and I had to stop this movie like 50 times for various reasons. So it took us
Hmm.
like probably almost literally 4 hours to get through it.
Oof.
So maybe somewhere in all of that I missed this, but how so like clearly they used this devil head thing to try to pin it on Judd.
Mhm.
Who knew that Judd had that and like was the one who threw it through the church window besides maybe the bartender?
Ooh.
Like how did the conspirators know that he was tied to that thing to try to pin it on him?
I don't
I
know how
mean,
somebody. Let's go ahead if you have a guess, Justin. I don't know.
oh, I mean, later on, like after the murder happens, we do see that the doctor, Ned, he does frequent the bar too,
Well, that's
so
true. Yeah,
maybe,
that's true. That is
but
true. That
yeah.
is a
It's
good
still a
point.
problem because that was my guess was the doctor was in the bar at the time that that whole thing happened and he knocked over the lamp and he took the piece and everything. But then if he was
Hmm.
in the bar, he could not have been at the church when it sailed through the window. So I guess that was the lady then.
Yeah.
But how you connect those two pieces together to be like he knocked this lamp over and took this piece and threw it
Yeah.
and broke the window. Damn kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little.
Man, I show up late and you guys are already more critical about this movie than I expected.
Actually, we've been fairly positive about it so
Yeah, I
far. It's
mean, not
just
not
Okay, okay,
necessarily reflective of final ratings,
this
but
is
okay,
really, I think, the first real qualm we've had with some of the problems here.
okay,
I don't know. I feel like maybe that will tie into my one criticism of the movie overall, which we maybe I'll hold off on that, but
okay,
Yeah. All right, let's finish up this next part here with we're in Act Three, the reveal at the moment, Justin,
okay.
and then after we finish up the plot here, I'll go back give you a chance to mention any standout performances or people you had an issue with, if any.
Sure.
Okay, so I mean, like we all kind of assumed that this guy swallowed the diamond, right? That's kind of the thing, right? I actually thought when I was watching it, I actually thought the second coffin in the mausoleum was actually literally just full of cash the entire movie. And so he was trying to fake his death to go in there and be buried so that he could be with all of the cash and then come out as what I thought was happening. Turns out that's not what was happening, but
Yeah, I assume that the fortune was somehow tied to the interior of the mausoleum with how much time they spent saying that, oh,
yeah.
it can only be opened from the inside unless you're using construction equipment from the outside or whatever. You know, it's just, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The other weird thing I have about this ending and how the plot was hatched, I guess, with Martha and Nat, which P.S. Weird that we have Jeremy Renner playing a character named Nat, given he plays Hawkeye and watches Nat plunge to her death in Endgame or Infinity War, whichever one it was, which kind of bizarro naming. But anyway,
Hmm.
is so she's like, oh, this giant diamond's gonna ruin other people's lives and it's gonna make this guy be wealthy and then he's gonna use his newfound fame or money to ruin other people's lives. And so she does this elaborate setup just to make it look like this guy was risen from the dead in order to like keep the church interest in the murder. I was like,
I,
what?
Yeah, I honestly didn't even really think about that part, but that is ridiculous too. Like, why? What was the point of like actually faking the resurrection?
well, I mean, if you're trying to draw more people to your congregation, what's more effective than that at that than a miracle? Question mark. Also, apologies to anyone listening. I am a little bit drunk. But but yeah, I mean, if anything is going to draw people into like religion, into religiosity, it's going to be something beyond what they can explain under normal means, and a miracle seems to fit that bill, even if the guy who rises from the grave disappears afterwards inexplicably.
Yeah, that would
Uh,
have been, well, that's true. I guess if he just disappeared, maybe people would have bought into it. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's possible. All right. Well, basically, this whole part at the end here is all Martha's confession, more or less, of how she went through the different steps. This was also interesting too, because this was the moment when there's two weird moments in the plot, I thought, in addition to what we've already mentioned here, and they're both super short, but one was good, which was Benoit Blanc saying like, I cannot solve this mystery repeatedly, and I was like, did he actually get stumped by something? Because like that was
Mhm.
interesting to me, but really he just meant I'm giving this lady time to do her confession.
Yeah.
And then the other time, and this one bothered me, I don't know, more than it should have maybe, but when it looked like Father Judd actually was the murder suspect for a while. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, the main character of this movie actually is the killer. And then I was like, this is actually going to go to like some new places we haven't seen in this franchise where like the guy that he is helping or the girl that he's helping actually is the guilty one. And I was like, this will be interesting how this plays out.
Yeah.
And then immediately when they had, because Father Judd like shouts like, I did it or something like that. And I was like, oh shit, he just like admitted to it. And then we come to find out like 2 minutes later that he meant he kicked the flask behind the door so that it, like the
Yeah.
reputation of the church. I was like, what?
Yeah,
Uh,
that was an interesting little fake out. Or yeah, I think it's like Benoit is saying like, "Why did you do it?" I think that's what it was, and then
Yeah, that sounds
yeah,
right.
yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm like, well, okay, and then all of a sudden it's like that other reveal, and I'm like, oh, all right, that's different than I expected, but let's see where it goes. Um, yeah, who would have thought that a drinking problem would be the would be a core element to to a murder? So
Well, one day you're breaking lamps at the bar, and the next day you're doing these other things, I guess. So, we find out here that Martha has also taken some of the poison that she had used earlier to trick Nat into killing himself in their little tet for tet down in the basement there. And then she dies as well. So we get a little bit of a death count in this movie as well, pointing out more
yeah.
than just a like normal one person who dies here. And then we get a little epilogue scene at the end of all this where now we have Father Judge at the church and we have kind of a new congregation of people coming in where the illegitimate son's like, where's the diamond? And then we do see it at the end here and well go ahead.
I have serious issues with that part where where Father Judd is like, "Oh, your true inheritance is in Christ," and I'm like, anyone with two brain cells to rub together could put together that okay, the diamond still exists and it's like hidden in some sort of like Jesus statue. And then he puts up the new cross, and there's the thing at the end, and it's just like, okay, they could go back and look, or there's plenty of windows. Light could shine in and hit this thing at any point and give away where you decided to hide this incredibly valuable item. And it just feels, I don't know. I had issues with that.
I mean, not many people piece together the Eve's apple thing, so maybe
There's
people in this
that.
universe are just not that smart.
It could be. I
That's
was trying
possible. Yeah.
trying to see here too. It says Sai, the son, did know about the diamond. I don't
Mhm.
remember when that was. It just when she was confessing? No, because
Maybe.
were they
Um,
all in the church when she was confessing and dying, or was it just her?
No, I thought it was just like her, Blanc, and the sheriff or
That's what I
something.
thought
yeah.
too. Because it would make sense if he's like still like, there's got to be money out there, but I can't remember why. This one plot summary I'm looking at says like he's going to sue the church if the diamond's not returned specifically, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know how he would know that that was there. I'm just probably forgetting what it was, but
Yeah.
I don't know. None of that really bothered me, honestly.
we already had somebody rip the church apart and couldn't find it. But anyway,
Mm.
let's go on here. Justin, you showed up a little later, so is there anybody you want to highlight for performances you liked, good or bad?
I will say, I did peg Martha as being the one responsible for everything fairly early on, but I did like her performances. Like, as soon as like the murder happens, she gives this whole kind of reaction to it. And it's like, okay, that to me it screams this is a distraction. This is to try to throw people off their feet. This is to try to, get them from looking too closely at the body. So I didn't know how or why exactly she was, responsible for the murder, but I pegged her as the one being responsible. That said, I did like her performance because it felt like she was very invested in how things turned out.
Hmm.
And the sort of overreaction she had that felt also genuine because she was trying to see her goals met, and really giving it her all to try and throw these people off the scent of what actually happened. So I really actually enjoyed her performance more than I expected to, because it felt real. It felt like something a person who was in her position and who wanted what she wanted would have done. And so I really enjoyed her particular performance. Um, Other standouts, I mean, let's see here. Da, da, da. I have some that that kind of were that felt lacking a bit. I don't know if you want me to get into those, but I
From a
would say Martha.
performance aspect?
Yeah, well, just from like a character importance aspect, really.
Hmm.
Like the performances were fine, but I don't. There were a couple of characters who I question, like, did they need to be there?
I have some of those
Um,
too.
oh, so yeah, we can get to those in a bit, but really, Martha is what stood out to me in terms of like the side cast. So.
You weren't here, Justin, so I got to ask, what did you think of Annie Hamilton, who played Grace in the flashbacks? She was like a bloodthirsty vampire ripping that church apart. I loved her.
I mean, by the end, when half the cast is saying that poor girl, um, yeah, I can agree with that because
That
she
poor girl.
was she was really
That
sort of,
harlot
yeah.
whore.
Yeah, she was really sort of blackmailed and just coerced into being someone she didn't want to be for a good chunk of her life. And for the sheer purposes of getting what she felt was owed to her, and to get to all of that, to get to the end, that terminus, that endpoint, and to suddenly discover that, oh, all of this that was promised to you, it doesn't actually exist. It's all just a metaphor, and you're just supposed to find like value or riches in the church. I could see why that would drive her nuts. And like I liked her as a character because sure, she was flawed, but she was human. And for a good chunk of her existence of her life, she was kind of forced into a life she didn't want. And then to have the rug pulled out from under her at the end of what she thought was her penance, her trial, that just felt cruel in a
Yeah.
way, and it made me very sympathetic towards her. She might not have been
Yeah.
the best person, but she didn't deserve what she got in the end.
You know those Wickses, John Wickses,
I mean, yeah,
Prentice Wickses.
she could have followed it. Yeah, she could have followed in her Uncle John's footsteps, and it could have been
Aw.
ended up being a very different movie.
Could have been. Well, she kind of did do that with the church when she went kabooby on it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
all right. Well, I got some kind of a random smattering of things here towards the end. So let's go through some of these as well. I wanted to ask first, what did you guys feel about this particular installment having, I would say, notably far less humor than the first two? At least the second one had way less had way less than the second one, I should say.
Um, I kind of missed it, in all honesty. Like I didn't dislike the movie by any means, but I remember chuckling a lot more in the first two installments, and them having a sense, a more of a sense of dark humor at
Yeah.
worst. Yeah, it's something where it's like there's a wink and a nod to the audience to kind of like keep you going. And there was a little bit of that,
Mm-hmm.
mainly at the beginning and mainly at the end.
Yeah.
But the middle section was very, it was played straight. And I don't know, it felt out of character for a film in this series in a way. Like,
I mean, it's never been like a straight ahead comedy series,
True.
but I
yeah.
mean, I think what you're pointing to is like my issue with this one though is that
Mhm.
it's just imbalanced.
Yeah.
Like it felt like there was a decent amount of humor in the first maybe like third of the movie.
Mhm.
And honestly, I've seen a lot of movies do this and it always frustrates me. Like there's a lot of like action comedies I've watched and things like that where it'll start out kind of peppering jokes throughout the first third or first half, and then at a certain point, it's like it forgot it was a movie that was also trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, again, I don't feel like this series has always been like fully comedic, but there has, I think, always been a little more levity kind of throughout both of the previous movies. Whereas this one, it does feel like to me, I don't even really remember there being much at the end, maybe like a couple things, but for me, it mostly felt like it was like all toward the beginning.
Yeah, like with the dicks being, spray painted on
Can't believe
Oh
they're
yeah.
bricks
drawing
and
rocket
everything.
ships
Yeah.
on the
Rocket ships. Yeah, yeah.
yeah
Just
on the
like
crypt.
it had clever witticism there, and at the end it was kind of just the other priest saying like that son of a bitch regarding like Sai, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just like it tried to come full circle there, but the middle section was more or less devoid of any comedic elements. So it did, yeah, I agree. It did feel imbalanced that way. Like you lead in with that, and then it dissipates until the very end, and there's like a hint.
yeah.
So it's a strange choice.
I mean, me. Well, I think Cody has a section for themes, so maybe it's too early to
Hmm.
get into that. But
Yeah, hop into it. Let's do one. What do you got?
well, I
We're
do
right there.
want. I wonder if maybe the lack of humor, or the fact that it kind of gets away from being as jokey, is related to the fact that I feel like this movie is trying harder to comment on some more serious subject matter than maybe the first two did. I mean, the second one was kind of making fun of like billionaires and tech bros, which, is definitely an ongoing topic, but I feel like that is more rife for like, more outward parody and joking.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Whereas I was kind of surprised by how political this movie felt.
Yes.
Like,
Talk about it.
I mean, I feel like at various points, Wix feels like a analog for Donald Trump. Like Johnson, pretty obviously, it seems like, is commenting on how and why people can get pulled into following a charismatic asshole and
Yep.
become complicit in, his outbursts. And to me, it feels obvious that there are parallels to what's been going on in America over the past couple of years. There was one point, I don't know if you guys felt this, I forget exactly what he was saying, but like there was one point where Jeremy Renner's character was like trying to make excuses or something, and I felt like he was kind of doing a Donald Trump impression for a minute. Like it was weird. But yeah, I feel like it's impossible to watch this movie without feeling, and I mean, especially the religious aspect of the religious right. You know, you have all these so-called Christians who are pledging their allegiance to this person who is a 37-time convicted felon and probably pedophile, and
Just
God
call him
knows
the
what other
Antichrist. You know
unspeakable
you
things
want to.
he's done. But, enough about Jefferson Wicks. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, how did you guys feel about those themes kind of shining through in this movie?
I have a decent amount written for this, but I'll let Justin go first.
Uh, sure. Yeah, the Irish are drinking all night.
Yeah, Justin.
Okay. So,
Communion wine, your thoughts.
oh man, it's delicious. But in all honesty, yes, it's unavoidable. Like the parallels to current day America and what this movie is trying to address. Um, there are times it felt almost a little heavy-handed, but at the same time, it did have some nuance to it, which I do want to address. Like, I do appreciate that there's this newer, pastor who wants to come in and address what the church is supposed to actually be about. It's supposed to be about forgiveness and love and charity and whatnot. And he's coming to this remote, isolated, very opinionated and insular community, and they want nothing to do with that because they've already come to accept that no, that's not what this is about. To be a Christian, to be part of this fellowship, you need to be about exclusion. You need to be about intolerance. You need to be about judging people who are not part of the in group, and that is there's some power in that. Like
Hmm.
I say this as an atheist. There is something to be said for someone who is actively trying to embrace what the church is always saying it's about Christ's teachings of being good to your neighbor, about being a good person, about just being forgiving and charitable and kind, and to have that fall on deaf ears there that is, even to me, that's a powerful message to have someone come in and earnestly try to give, to promote that and have it be utterly rejected by the established people you're trying to reach. And I feel that is a very, accurate representation of what at least some of America has become. Like, you look at the current political state of things, and it's not nice. It's not rosy. It's not charitable or neighborly or kind. It's very much a. It feels like a cult, and this movie feels like it's trying to address the fact that an established religion, at least in this country, has become to be seen as like in its mainstream demonstration, its mainstream practice, at least in the political arena, it's come to be more cult-like than what it was intended to be. And it does feel like it's a bit heavy with that messaging at times, but it does feel like something that is important to address because if people could just be more this feels weird to say again as someone who's not religious at all is if people could just be more Christ-like, and accepting, forgiving, and just kind to one another, this country could be a very different place. And yet, that's not where we are. That's not where things are going. And this movie illustrates that just in a microcosm, but you can extrapolate that very easily to the country at large. And I'm too drunk to really fully articulate
I
what I'm
think you're
trying
doing a
to
good
say
job.
here.
Yes.
Thank you. Um,
You're drunk
but
eating,
yeah,
just kidding.
but no, I feel that there is a lot of subtext to this, and it's a good movie because of that. it's an important movie because of that, and it's a matter of if you can
Uh-huh.
see past the occasional like as I said, heavy-handedness of its presentation, there's a lot to unpack here. I think I lost track of what the original question was, but
No, you're
that's
good.
kind of what I got to say there. Okay.
That's good. Yeah, my comments quickly on the Republicanism in the movie. Definitely, I tried to find it online, but maybe the movie's too new yet. I can't find Cy's speech that he gave when they were like, all the Republican things and this thing and the racist thing and this thing and the abortion thing and the what does he say,
Mm.
like that trans thing or something like that. He puts it in like a weird phrase, but so yeah, that's definitely pretty heavy-handed, but played for laughs. But it's the religion aspect. I agree with kind of what you guys are saying here, which my family, I think, immediately, and maybe me too, when the movie was done, I was like, that felt really a little stuffy and very religious, and like my kids and wife were like, that was too religious, and maybe they wanted more laughs, I think, than they got out of this one. But I do think that's really where the power of this one comes from, which is interesting for it being like a Benoit Blanc mystery movie. The more I keep thinking about this, so I was just typing up my notes. This is very similar to some things Justin was saying as well, but it like definitely shows the danger of like a demagogue in the church and having good old Father Judd compared to, the comfort he brings compared to Monsignor Wicks and his division that he sows with the people in the community. And then a couple sites, one site at least, I know I read a lot of reviews on this movie even before I took the notes, and one of the sites I was on said their favorite moment of this film. And I knew it meant something in the moment, but I had to read their comment and then kind of go back and reflect on it more. One of the moments they loved the most in the movie was when the non-character construction workers, the owner that calls him back, basically the lady calls him back and is just like, "Do you have time to talk?" And he like just puts the movie basically on hold, and Benoit Blanc's like, "We're trying to solve this mystery here," and like it just showed like that person needed that in that moment, and Father Judd was trying to have his name cleared in that moment, but was like, "I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and just try to help this lady," and that was really. I don't know. Kind of what Justin's saying. I kind of ended my comments here with like it's in that moment where we see like what religion can be if it's noble and at its best. It's kind of like the intended purpose of a lot of it, I think. And it's yeah, it's good. Basically, Father Jeb was like, if they find me guilty, they find me guilty, but I'm gonna go help this lady. And then Blanc like opens the door and he's still talking to her and praying with her on the phone, and
Mhm.
it was a touching moment, but it stopped the movie, and they didn't do it a lot, but there was at least a hint on his face. I thought of like even Benoit Blanc had to stop, consider like what did it mean that this guy was stopping to talk to this lady rather than try to clear his name? Because like you said earlier, Joe, like to him this is a game that he beats every time.
Yeah,
He's just like, let
Mhm.
me get to the end of this thing that I'm doing, but
yeah.
he had to kind
I
of pause for this other thing here.
I really like that scene too. I mean, we all have writing backgrounds and we all know the importance of showing, not telling. I feel like that scene shows us a lot about who Father Judd is as a person and
Yeah.
like where his kind of like heart and faith lie because when he's like first talking to her, he's trying to like rush her to get to the point. Like he's trying to push her to like call her brother right away to get the information. He's like, he keeps saying it's urgent, it's urgent.
Mhm.
But then like when she starts telling him this story and like kind of, asking for his help or asking him to talk to her, it's like he just immediately focuses on that. Like that's just what he has to do because that's who he is. And
Mhm.
I feel like that really says a lot. Like I just love the way that we are shown that he is that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Actually, it was on a couple religious sites earlier today as well that had reviewed the film, and most of them, or at least the couple I had gone on, gave this film very high marks, not only for the movie itself, which I was like, why is this a weird review to be on like Jesuit.com or whatever the site was I was on? No offense intended to my Jesuit friends out there, but yeah, they're basically like, hey, this is exactly how we'd love to see the priests shown in the movies, not like Wicks, but like Father Judd, and then also like a couple of them talked about that scene as well. So yeah, I feel like that aspect, the religious aspect, will be the next thing I look for the next time I watch this movie. I'm going to try to soak into that a little bit more even yet. So,
Hmm.
all right. Well, here's the topic. It sounds like everybody is hinted at, but let's just hit it head on here. Possible issues with some of the characters or suspects in the movie. And I guess my question, and I don't know if this is where you guys are heading with this or not, but my wife, at least, and I do agree somewhat, immediately said, like, we didn't really have a lot of characters that we had enough time with to care about in this movie. We didn't spend enough time with them for them to be literal suspects. Like, they're just kind of in the movie for the most part. So I don't know if that hints on with some of what you guys have to say or not, but it sounded like you both had something
Yes,
to say.
I feel okay. So I will say I agree with that, but it feels almost contradictory to say. I also feel like this movie is too long. It's like 2 hours and 24 minutes, I think. I think it should have been 2 hours. But going back to the
Yeah.
character thing, I agree with that. I mean, as Cody and I mentioned, this is wink wink a murderer's row of, great people in the cast, but I don't feel like they all really had enough to do. They're much as I love Andrew Scott, he plays the like author. I don't feel like he really needed like that character did not need to be in this movie. He doesn't really have much to do. He doesn't really add anything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This might be controversial, but even Kerry Washington, who plays Vera, who is the like weird adopted mother slash sister of Cy, she has like nothing to do in this movie. Like
Hmm.
Cy could have still been in the movie and just been like a townsperson slash failed politician who we then learn is Wilkes' illegitimate son. And like you could have still had that entire plot line without having Vera in the movie at all.
Yep.
And I feel
Agreed.
like if they had cut out a couple of these extraneous characters and maybe developed the other characters a little more, it might have worked a little bit better.
Yeah, agreed. Especially those were the two I was going to highlight. Like, yeah, sure, Vera is Wix's attorney and whatnot. We're told that. We're shown a couple of things where like she's had dealings with his legal affairs, but she doesn't really have a whole lot of impact on the story. Like, sure, she has a reason to want him dead. Once that whole like there's that secret meeting with him, where he kind of just goes off and says, I'm going to ruin all of you," and she's one of them. Okay, sure, there's that, but she never really plays much of a major role. And similarly with Lee Ross, the sci-fi author, like he seems especially like he's just there to kind of hammer home like a point, like a message, where by the end, he sells his book, but the only people reading it are the hardcore right-wing
That
survivalists and
that was
whatnot.
hilarious.
It was
Hilarious.
Especially the
funny.
comment about how they all look like John Goodman from The Big Lebowski,
I
and
laughed so
then
Yeah.
hard.
that's
Nobody else in
exactly
my
what they
family
look
got it,
like.
but I
I thought it
laughed
was
so hard.
amazing.
But that's like all the only reason he was there. He didn't have any real impact on anything aside from that.
Yeah.
And okay, sure, without two characters, the cast might have felt a bit sparse, but the story would have still worked, I think. So yeah, I agree with you on those two, especially because like they just didn't feel like they added much. So
Yeah, I think they probably could have either, like you guys are saying, removed somebody. Like my wife was like, "Well, why were those couple people there?" And I was like, "Probably just to like pad out the possible suspects." But at the same time, I don't know if they had all been established as like people with beef on Monsignor Wicks, then they would have been maybe more applicable as a suspect. But right now, they're all followers of him, so
mhm.
I don't know. It was yeah, they didn't really need
I
to.
almost I didn't I just this thought just popped into my head while we've been talking, but
Mhm.
I almost wonder if those characters were in there just to have more diversity amongst the people that are like following Wix as far as
Mhm.
trying to be a commentary on real life events and the fact that there are, some a pretty wide variety to a puzzling degree of people that have fallen for certain cults. I don't
Maybe.
know, because like I mean,
Maybe.
because isn't like Ross is he starts out as like a sci-fi author and I
Yeah.
Mhm.
think maybe more liberal, but then like he
Yep.
somehow gets pulled into this and he's using the word libtard, and like he seems like he becomes like a weird right wing bootlicker. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's a thing that has happened in real life with, some people in like celebrities in prominent positions. So I'm just guessing. Maybe that's why these characters are in here, is to try to reflect that, but I still don't think they're necessary to this story.
Yeah, and if they're just there to further like lend weight to a message or whatever, that just it feels kind of superfluous. Like if they don't contribute to the plot,
Hmm.
then they don't. I mean, any reason that they're there is going to feel kind of shoot in. I guess is kind of the way I'm putting it. And yeah, if the only reason they're there is to further like a message that's trying to get across, that is kind of, I don't want to say lazy from a writing perspective, but it's unnecessary. So yeah, like the core plot should carry whatever message you're trying to convey without having these characters that are only there to reinforce that. So
Yeah, I
that's just
guess
me.
maybe I'd prefer if a couple were taken out, because if we tried to develop them anymore, we would probably take time away from Father Judd, and I feel like he was pretty adequately fleshed out the way it was set up, so I wouldn't want to take away from him per se.
Hmm.
So maybe one or two less, I don't know, or maybe make that book club have more meaning and like more things happen at it, or because it
Hmm.
is, I don't know if it's the 40 minutes at the beginning of the film without Benoit Blanc before the mystery starts or what, but it also doesn't seem like a ton happens for the runtime of this movie. But that is
Yeah.
kind of the nature of the mystery and the whodunit too, is it's all these slow unravels of different things. Like I loved the little 2 second scene where and I'm forgetting her name. What was the lady's name? Martha. Martha
Mm.
and Monsignor both came out of the confessional booth, and very
Yeah, I was
clearly I
like,
was like, "Ooh, they just had sex in
yeah,
the confessional booth."
did they bang in there?
And then they go back to that exact scene, and they like show you what really happened. I was like, "Oh, I'm such an idiot!" Like, good stuff. All
Hmm.
Did
right.
he use her as a Catholic chronicle? Oh,
Oh,
hey.
maybe give her a little of the homily. All right, let's do this. Anything you guys have to say about cinematography or music in the movie?
Yes, I thought this movie was beautifully shot. It turns it turns out RIan Johnson knows how to both write, direct, shoot, and make a movie. I said both, but I mean all of those things. RIan Johnson is a great filmmaker. He has never made a bad movie.
Uh, Justin, your thoughts?
Just just because a person can like accurately shoot and frame and write a film doesn't mean they can do that for all films. Um, and I agree that this was enjoyable. It was a well put together movie. I can't say that necessarily about all of his films, but no one is perfect. No one is
Except
flawless,
RIan
and
Johnson.
reiterate, no one is perfect. So, I mean, yeah, I will say he does when he's in his element and when he's working with material that isn't built off of previous material to the extent of some other films that shall remain nameless. He can do a very good job.
Just be happy. Joe just admitted Glenn Powell is not perfect. There we go. He said
Oh,
only Ryan Johnson.
you are right, sir.
Listen, I'm not saying Glenn Powell is perfect. I'm saying the classic Glenn Powell film Hitman is a perfect film.
There it is. Um, I liked the contrast in this movie with color usage. There was that like weird forest they kept walking through with those ferns, and it was just so lush in there.
Hmm.
And then that church felt so empty and vacant every time I mean, doubly vacant because Wicks wouldn't let them even have like decorations in the church.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just like this stone, hard, cold place compared to that forest that Judd had to keep running through,
Hmm.
which I really, the use of color there, which I'm assuming they were doing that, and Johnson was doing that a little bit to show like maybe the church in its current state was like a physical representation of Wicks a little bit with how like closed off it was, and there was just not much there, and maybe that would improve or change once Judd takes over. as the years go on. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I mentioned this to Joe earlier, Justin, but I don't think you were on yet. But
Mhm.
there were a couple times where they used like security camera footage and other ways to kind of manipulate like us looking at something through something in the film. There's the
Mhm.
part with the mausoleum, and I forget if there was another part or not. I thought there was a second security part, was there not? Maybe there wasn't. That I enjoyed.
There was footage of like when the murder happened, wasn't there? Like
Oh,
in the
yep.
chapel.
I
Yeah,
think you might
yeah,
be right. I
yeah.
think you might be right. Or even like just how they kept
I don't
like,
think there's security footage of that. I think we see it like from the perspective of like the people in the church.
Yeah,
Like we
that's
get like a specific angle of it, but I don't think that's supposed to actually
no,
be
no,
like security.
it was
well,
Sai. Sai was recording it on
Oh,
his
yeah,
you're
from
right.
phone.
You're
his
right.
cell
I
phone, his cell
forgot.
phone.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I'm
he
so
records
sorry.
fucking everything.
He sure does.
Um,
And just as an aside, I haven't directly met, but I've run into someone like that, and yeah, those people exist. So,
just as an
yeah.
aside, huh, Justin?
Yeah.
hmm As an aside.
Um, I even liked the part where they had the picture from the bar and they were like holding the picture and doing this with it and just kind of
hmm
Do you
give us
see
the
it?
old. Do you see it? Do you see it?
Do you
Do you
see
see it?
I didn't see it. I thought they meant the
I
bag. I
didn't see
guess
it.
not.
See, I'd be curious to rewatch the movie and see
it?
like how obvious it is.
I noticed like the lamp front and center was in a slightly different position, but I did not
Hmm.
notice the one in the back. So
Yeah, at
yeah.
all.
hmm
At all. Okay. Sweet. Anything else there? Music, I didn't make any notes, but it didn't bother me. It didn't stand out
I like the
particularly.
score.
Yeah.
I think RIan Johnson's brother typically does the score to his
Oh,
movies.
Hmm.
huh.
Or no, his cousin. I'm looking now, his cousin. I mean, it's not as good as the score for the original Knives Out, which I own on vinyl because I love the score that much.
Oh, well.
But I thought
Nice.
it was pretty solid.
I like that. I've considered adding Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man movie posters to my
Hmm.
original Knives Out movie poster.
Speaking of music, though, I will say that I need to say some Hail Marys and Our Fathers and maybe flog myself because I did not know that the title of this movie is a reference to a U2 song.
Oh.
In fairness, it's apparently on their album Pop, which nobody likes, but
That is
there's apparently a
true,
U2
but
song called Wake Up Dead Man. And I mean, I guess it makes sense because Glass Onion, the previous one, was a Beatles song, but
yeah, I was
Huh.
reading about that earlier. It said it's something like all the film titles, all three are from songs, but Johnson said this is not really from the U2 song, but also kind of
but
from the
kind
U2
of, I saw
song.
that.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's from like a
Interesting.
Southern prison work song originally with the lyrics that said Wake Up Dead Man. It was like what the prison crews would do in the South.
I wonder if maybe it's
Whoa.
a thing where U2 got it from that song and then Johnson got it from the U2
That
song
would
and got
not
it from that
surprise
song or
me, knowing
something.
Bono.
He
That would
does
not
love the
surprise
American
me.
South.
He does love having liberal causes, so.
That's true.
All right, just a couple things left on my end here. Wanted to at least briefly talk about Johnson and Daniel Craig did want this to have a full-fledged theatrical release. Netflix did finally assent and give them, what, 2 weeks
Oh.
apparently in the theater,
Yeah.
but it sure as hell didn't come by me, and I am surrounded by movie theaters. So,
It actually did play
It.
by me, but I
Oh.
just didn't get a chance to go see it in the theater because I had other stuff going on.
With our one movie theater.
what's this looking like here?
Oh.
What?
No, go ahead, Justin, you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say with our one movie theater in like a 50-mile radius, yeah, it did not show up here.
You probably had it. No, but this is like the bigger problem, and now we are, as we're recording this, at least still in the middle of Netflix trying to acquire Warner Brothers, but then here comes
Mm.
Paramount, but mess, monopoly, monopoly, monopoly. But it
Mm.
does beg the question of,
They just
should
have to pay Monsignor Wicks millions of dollars and he will let them go ahead with their merger.
now, well,
Laws don't
yeah,
matter anymore.
should these movies be in theaters? We kind of talked about this in the past,
Yes.
but it's
Yes, they
like,
should be in theaters.
do you think they'd be successful or not? Because if people know it's
I
going to be on Netflix in like 2 weeks or whatever,
I mean, honestly, I'm kicking.
I'm
I saw the first Knives Out in the theater and it was
hmm.
amazing.
yes.
Um, I'm honestly like,
But that was pre-Netflix also, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, that was just a straight ahead, like traditional theatrical release movie, but then Netflix bought the rights. I saw, I think, I mean, I know we're going to talk about the future, but it looks like they bought the rights specifically for two
Two, I think,
sequels,
yeah.
which we
Oh,
have gotten. But I think I'm going to, speaking of the future, that makes me wonder if Johnson will take future movies elsewhere specifically so that he can get a theatrical release, or at least a better theatrical release again.
Mhm.
I'm honestly kind of mad at myself for not going out of my way to see this in the theater because I think that theatrical releases are important, and I think that it is especially important to release movies that are not like Marvel or Disney or
Yeah.
Star Wars, like giant tentpole movies in theaters, because especially with, the prevalence of streaming, like fewer and fewer studios are doing that,
Mhm.
and I think it's a shame.
Well, even with like the Marvel movies and Disney movies, a lot of them they're in theaters for a month and then boom on Disney Plus or whatever. And it's just yeah, theaters are in a weird place right now where I don't it almost feels like there's more indie flicks in theaters than there are like big blockbusters these days. At least those are the ones that come across my radar. Because everything else is like, oh, it's there for a few weeks or a month at most, and then boom, it's on streaming. Where, yeah, um,
If by
I,
indie flicks you mean horror movies, then yes,
I
because
mean,
horror
yeah,
movies always make money. That's
they
why
do.
those are always in theaters.
This is
oh,
true.
I can show you some that haven't.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a fact. They typically have pretty low budgets and
Mm,
like pretty
Yeah,
high profits as a result.
yeah, yeah, like you make anything off of a $2 million movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna make a profit.
right, right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on it too. I guess I probably to my negative side here, I guess to myself, I probably could have found a theater somewhere here that had it, but like it wasn't at the ones closest to me.
Mm.
And oh, heaven forbid I go further than that. But also, like, there is always the back of my mind, like, well, I'm busy right now with my schedule, and if I don't get to it, it's going to be there in 2 weeks. So maybe that's part of the
I mean,
problem.
that's honestly why I didn't do it. And again, I'm
Hmm.
kind of kicking myself for it. I mean, especially having seen the movie, I do think it's gorgeously shot. Like, I think there are definitely like scenes and specific shots that would have looked really cool on the big screen.
We need the Benoit Blanc trilogy to come to theaters, back to back
Ooh.
to back, like the whole bloody affair.
I mean, if they include like an intermission with food or something in the middle, sure, I'd be down for that.
They
Yeah, there
serve
you
donut holes between movies.
go.
Better than
Donut
nothing.
hole and a donut hole. All right, let's keep going here. So just wrote down a couple brief trivia things. We already saw a couple of these. We talked about a couple of these already. I mentioned this is Jeremy Renner's first film back since he's had his accident. Wasn't it like a snowplow or something weird?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a weird, it was like a, I think it's like a little like kind of ATV thing with like a snowplow on the front of it, like a
Hmm.
hardcore snow clearing machine. He somehow got trapped under it
Oh
Oof.
gosh.
and it like completely shattered one of his legs or something.
Oof.
I forget. I just read who was supposed to play that role. If it wasn't him, I don't remember who it was now.
Hmm.
It's too bad. I mean, whoever it was, I'm sure they would have been a better actor than Jeremy
It
Renner,
was
but
it was him. It was him in was it Mila
Rob
Kunis's character?
Schneider.
It was two. I think it was like Renner and Mila Kunis were both supposed to be somebody. Mila Kunis was it Mila Kunis? One of them was supposed to be Lindsay Lohan.
Oh,
oh,
it is good to see Mila Kunis still getting work.
I was
Because, like,
shocked because I couldn't place who that was for like 5 minutes, and then I was like,
really?
"Wait, is that
hmm,
Mila Kunis?" Like that's a very
yeah,
don't take it the wrong way, but she is older, but a very adult role for her because I still think of her
yeah,
as like not doing that type of work. So
yeah, that 70s show. Yeah. So,
Joe was a huge fan. You missed that part earlier, but.
ah.
We already mentioned that Noah Segan making his third appearance in the franchise after a deputy, and then also the dude on the island in Glass Onion, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt after the Hourly Dong, and this time he's back as an announcer, so he has three cameos, two just audio, I guess. And then also, if you remember in the, I don't know, last time you guys watched Glass Onion, I just watched it like 3 weeks ago, but. Um, when Edward Norton's character is hosting the party, he keeps going on about Jeremy Renner's hot sauce, and now Jeremy Renner's in the universe, which I thought was funny as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And then
funny.
last thing I have here is when Judd is writing the letter that Benoit Blanc wants him to write, apparently he says he's been writing the letter for the last hour, and apparently that is exactly 60 minutes into the movie that he's
Weird.
been literally writing. I think it's
Oh.
on purpose, but I think it's literally 60 minutes into the movie. I have not
It's
gone
funny
back to
because
check
when they
that.
said that, my comment was he wrote all that in an hour.
Yeah, right?
By hand, yeah.
Better than RIan Johnson. Just kidding. No, just
I
kidding.
did love the Star Wars reference in this movie.
Ooh, which one's that?
There was when it's Sai is talking to I think Benoit Blanc, and there's some comment about like an evil emperor or something something,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, it's like Star Wars," or maybe
Oh
he's talking to
yeah.
Judd. He's like, "Oh, it's like Star Wars," except he thinks that
Like
they're
he's
the good guys,
yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
right, yeah,
Like
like the
the
rebels.
rebels or
Yeah.
whatever.
like the
And they're
rebels.
like,
And there's like a
Yeah.
mm,
blink and a head tilt. Yeah.
I did hear that apparently there was a screening of this movie with a Q&A that was hosted by J.J. Abrams. So
oh wow.
apparently they have buried whatever hatchet the internet thought they had with each other.
Well, that's
Interesting.
good.
Okay, just
Abrams finally recognized that Rian Johnson made a better Star Wars movie.
who
I mean,
hey
episode 8 was better than episode 9, I'll say that.
Yay, we agree on
who
something.
who
Yay!
directed Seven?
J.J.
That was
Abrams.
Abrams.
Well, that one's better than the other two together, so.
Uh,
And a technicality, despite being incredibly derivative of what came before it. I mean,
it's literally the first movie.
it
Still
is
better than
Episode
A New Hope.
89, just saying.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna head into some final thoughts and future things for you guys on this, but I was just kind of noting here, I tried to find, I thought I read somewhere in the last couple weeks as well, like this franchise has been really trying to hit like the different subgenres within the whodunit, which is also a subgenre of the mystery. So mystery, whodunit, subgenres of whodunit. The first movie,
Mhm.
Knives Out, was like the classic family inheritance plot. The second one, Glass Onion, was kind of the getaway island plot, of which many movies exist of both of these types.
Mhm.
The third one has kind of this basic religious overtones, but also has the kind of what they keep calling the locked room or impossible room mystery on
Mhm.
here as well. What do you guys want to see in the future from this? I'm assuming you want to see more of these, but my first take on this is I want movie four to be a train mystery set in the vein of like Murder on the Orient
Ooh.
Express, or I'd like them to see one in a contained setting somehow and see what Craig and Johnson can do with that.
that would be cool.
I like that. I like that.
Like a plane would not really work as well, but you could, a train, a ship, I guess you could do.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that approach. I mean, that could be a very organic continuation of this in exploring all these subgenres and such. Um,
I'll tell you what I want from future entries in the franchise.
the Casino Planet.
Characters I care about.
Ooh, fair.
Doesn't like Benoit Blanc, you heard it.
I mean, aside from Benoit Blanc.
Doesn't like Father Judd, you heard it.
I mean, Father Judd was and Wills were the only ones we really got a really strong connection to, I felt. Saya maybe, but a lot of the other ones were just sort of there to fill a role, and they didn't necessarily feel like people. They just felt like elements that the story needed to continue.
Yeah. I feel
That's
like
fair.
I
Yeah.
mean this might be final thought territory,
Yeah, go
but
for it. Let's do it. Final thoughts.
Okay.
all right. So I don't know if I'm ready to rate this yet, but here's where I'm going with this. I think the first Knives Out is very nearly a perfect movie
Hmm.
because not only is it a clever whodunit, introducing Benoit Blanc, which is Daniel Craig's greatest creation and maybe one of the greatest characters in cinema history.
You don't remember Cowboys versus Aliens then?
I own that movie on Blu-ray, so you go fuck yourself, sir.
Directed by Rand Johnson. Go on.
Uh, that actually, so side note, I own that movie on Blu-ray because of a joke.
Oh yeah?
Oh.
Because when that movie came out, it looked so incredibly stupid that I just kept joking about the fact that, dig this, they made a movie about cowboys and aliens, and it's called Cowboys and Aliens. It's so clever. And apparently, somehow, through me like repeatedly taking that jab at this movie, my mom got it in her head that I liked this movie and bought it for me for Christmas on Blu-ray. I watched it and I kind of liked it. I didn't actually hate it. So
That's fantastic.
I've seen it before.
anyway,
It's been a long time, but anyway.
Knives Out, fantastic movie. But I think part of the reason it is a fantastic movie is that it has actual characters. Like
Mhm.
even the victim, Christopher Plummer, like he is very sympathetic. Like he paints a picture of this, head of this family that is kind of ashamed of his successors. His children are all assholes, and he seems like he's a pretty solid dude. And then, like, especially Anna de Armas's character, like she is someone that you like actually feel for and care about throughout that movie. And when it gets to the end, and spoiler alert, like she ends up inheriting everything from Christopher Plummer's character. Like the ending just feels super satisfying because of her, like because of this like actual character that has been established over the course of the movie.
Hmm.
Both of the sequels are very fun movies, very clever movies, but I feel like Rian Johnson in the sequels has been more interested in all of the clever plot twists and has lost sight of actually making he's lost the heart, damn it.
Hmm.
Which is not to say that there's like no heart. I mean, I do like Father Judd. I do, love Benoit Blanc, but I don't feel like I've connected with any of the characters in either sequel to the extent that I did with some of the characters in the first movie. And to me, that is what makes the first movie as great as it is.
How dare
The
you
additions
sully
were good.
whiskey's good name from Glass Onion?
Who?
Whiskey.
Anyway, that being
Okay.
said, I mean, are we doing like final thoughts and ratings?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Sure.
All right. So I have a hard time rating this movie, and here's why. Because immediately after the movie ended, I had a numerical score pop into my brain,
Mhm.
but
Ooh.
I also had to consider how I felt about this movie in relation to the other two entries in the series. And having gone back and listened to the score, rediscovered the score that I gave Glass Onion,
Oh no.
my
Oh.
feelings about this movie's ranking in the series do not align with that numerical score.
Oh.
I apparently gave Glass Onion an 8 out of 10, which in retrospect feels a little high.
Okay.
So I don't really know how to approach my numerical score for this movie. I don't know if I can retroactively downgrade Glass Onion or if I have to now rate like in change my score for this movie so that it falls in line with how I feel about their respective places in the franchise, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
Which is
podcast
all to
has lived long
say,
enough to become the villain.
yes. I mean, I've had this problem before when we've like, reviewed an album by an artist that we had done an album by before, and it's, things don't match up that way. So I will put this card on the table. This is my second favorite Knives Out movie.
Hmm.
I thought Glass Onion was fun. I also did not really think much about Glass Onion after I watched it. I have watched the first Knives Out movie at least 4 times, and that's a movie that I would like always go back and watch. Like I think it is a just an amazing movie. Glass Onion, I would rewatch, but I just haven't, and I haven't really felt compelled to.
Hmm.
This movie, I don't think is as good as the first Knives Out, but I think because of all the themes, I feel like I feel like there may be things in there that I missed on my first viewing.
Hmm.
And I think that it could reward a rewatch, and I feel more compelled to revisit this movie than I did the second one.
Okay.
So I think what I'm going to do is retroactively drop Glass Onion down to a 7 out of 10 and stick with my initial knee-jerk score for this one, which was a 7.5 out of 10.
Hmm. O-
Somebody call
Okay.
RIan Johnson. We have to take the Fondy away from him that we were awarding back in.
I
So you're
will break
saying
his
what?
kneecaps.
7.5, you're saying?
7.5.
Okay.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. So I mentioned that sometimes the themes in this were a bit heavy-handed, but I still feel that they are important to acknowledge. And it feels like even in the parts of this episode I've been a part of, we've done a decent job of reiterating them and, giving them justice. Uh, that
Whiskey
said,
was her name.
whiskey? Ah, yes.
Dave Bautista's girl toy.
Ah, yes, yes.
Ah, whiskey.
Um, on that note, I think this one will stick with me more than Glass Onion did. I'm pretty sure I was a part of that episode. I don't remember what score I gave it. Um, but based on just how this movie presented itself, like the way the plot played out, the twists, the characters or lack of characters at times, um, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure it's one I'd be itching to revisit at any point in the near future, but I'm not sad that I watched it. Um, it has some important things to say. It has an interesting mystery with some decent, by the middle of this, I think I even said in the group, things are getting kind of weird. And
Yeah.
I can appreciate that in a mystery because it does kind of shake up your expectations. So I like where it went once I knew where in the end where it was intending to go. But now that I know all of that, I'm not sure it's a movie I'd really rewatch anytime soon. Um, Enjoyed it in the moment, enjoy what it has to say for the most part, but in terms of rewatchability, I feel like it's maybe a bit lacking. So I'm going to go with just a straight up 7.0 out of 10 on this one. I liked it. I'm not sad that I watched it. Might have been a bit overlong, might have had a few characters that didn't need to be there, but a competent mystery that kept my interest throughout.
9.9.
All right, that's going to do it for another
All
episode of Friends
right.
Occasionally Not Discreet.
It was fantastic. No, well, honestly, not too far off that though. I mean, literally, I like you both enjoy the first movie to the second movie. I've watched the first movie far more times than I've seen the second movie. Although I still maintain the scene in the first movie where Chris Evans comes down the lattice work and his grandma sees him and says, "It's you." It's bullshit just to make up a device for the plot. Seriously.
I
But
mean, I think that was
anyway.
supposed to be a joke.
Anyway, no, because that's pivotal to the whole movie mystery. So she's
She
like,
didn't say it's you, she said it's you.
Phew.
exactly. This one's fun, but it's a
Listen,
little more
the
serious.
joke is that his last name is Jordan. Anyway,
Anyway, I'm. This is one I do want to watch again and not wait too long either. Honestly, I want to see again how some of the themes in this movie really make me feel watching it again. I do agree there's problems, especially with the characters. I thought the mystery, however, was pretty revealing as they would go through the different parts. Ended up being a couple kind of more simplish type things that were involved in what actually was happening behind the scenes for the plot that played out. But it definitely kept me guessing through the movie where I was like, I think I know what this is. I'm wrong. I know what this is. I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm sad there was not a knife robot.
Yeah. Are you sure there wasn't a knife robot? Could be back there. Also, how cool was that little pulpit the guy was like? It was like, was that a ship that he was
It sure looked like it.
climbing
Yeah, like
like
the prow of
15
a
feet
ship.
into the
Yeah.
air to like look down at everyone? I was like, that is amazing.
That was pretty cool.
Also
Yeah.
looked like the Goonies set I'm building right now, but um
Also, shout out to Benoit Blanc playing the Phantom of the Opera on the pipe organ to get everyone's attention.
yes,
Dun,
that's
dun, dun,
right.
dun,
I forgot about that. All right,
dun.
you guys have convinced me to come down on this from where I was at. So I'm gonna give this a 8.5.
Ooh,
Wow.
Still,
Right.
I had this around 9 just for how much I anticipated looking forward to it, and I did enjoy it. It's definitely one of the better movies I think I've seen this year, so but I'll go with 8.5, which puts us at 7.67 today,
hmm.
Pretty
which is
solid.
pretty
Yeah,
solid. Not quite classic, but it's pretty good. We
yeah.
enjoyed it. Okay, well, that's 7.67 for Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out slash a Benoit Blanc mystery.
Scooby Dooby Doo.
Scooby Dooby Doo. Yeah, so you guys are reminding more humor than I even thought there was in the film, so I guess there is some, but anyway. Anything else from you guys tonight?
Huh?
Give us part four.
Yeah, yeah, I would
Yes.
watch another one of these, definitely.
I did see that as of last month, RIan Johnson and Daniel Craig have said that they are kicking around ideas for a fourth entry. So I
Nice.
do,
Hmm.
I like that Daniel Craig is like a collaborator on this series in addition to playing Benoit Blanc.
That is fun. I don't know if
Yeah.
I knew that or not. That's fun though.
I would like
Kind
to
of.
point out that most movie series, by the time they get to part four, end up in space. So just keep that in mind.
I wonder if Daniel Craig has any pull as far as who is in the movie.
Ooh.
Well, I didn't think about this until we were halfway through the podcast, but Jeffrey Wright did appear as Felix Leiter in Daniel Craig's James Bond movies. So I wonder if he was responsible for him coming in.
Yes, there was something about that. As a characters, it was characters in the three movies. There's been
Hmm,
like six people that have been in the Bond movies with Daniel Craig now.
Hmm.
that is interesting.
Anna de
I mean,
Armas,
honestly,
some other ones, I believe.
I feel like this series has maybe become a thing where like celebrities like because it's so much fun, I feel like maybe celebrities are drawn to it and like
Yeah.
maybe willing to take a pay cut or whatever is necessary to be in these movies.
I know, for
Yeah.
one, I saw earlier today again while reading a ton of this stuff that Glenn Close was ecstatic. Like there was a whole thing I was reading about
Yeah.
her, and she was just like, when I got the phone call, I was like, I never thought I'd be in a Knives Out movie, and I was like, that is the highest compliment as a
Yeah, that's
director I would think
amazing.
you could get.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
So anyway, we
Ah, I
got
can't wait to
all
see
kinds
Tom
of good
Cruise
stuff
in the
here.
next one.
Yes, it's gonna be good stuff. It's gonna be good stuff.
Plot twist, he is the real Benoit Blanc.
Yes. All right. Sounds good. I think that's it from us here. We'll be back next week with something. I don't think we're at the Fondies yet, but we're close. We'll have
Mhm.
to plug the hole for another week here until we get to the Fondies. Find out what's going on. So, all right,
Plug the
everybody, take
hole.
care. This has been the Fawn Pod. It's friends occasionally not disagreeing. I'm Cody. That's
Woo.
Joe, and that eventually was Justin. So we will see
Bye.
you
I
all
am
later.
also here.